Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood. Hello, and welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. So glad you're here, and I have a fantastic guest today. So we are going to jump right in. I had asked Kim O'Hara if she would come on my show, and I had mentioned somewhere that the name of the show was Limit Free Life, and she very sweetly said, oh my gosh, that is just exactly what I want to be talking about right now. And so I'm very thrilled that she's here with us today. This show is for those of you who are transitioning your career, starting growing businesses, trying to really get an understanding and a better relationship with your money, all the things that help you to create work you love. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today, Kim O'Hara, so sorry, and read you a little bit about her before we get started. Let's see. Well, here's my reading issue. Okay. So Intuitive Book coach Kim O'Hara's high-profile clients trust her coaching when writing their books due to not just her 2 decades in Hollywood producing and writing movies, but the navigation of her own personal trauma journey. She guides them as influencers to share their epic journeys. Her clients include the creator of Good Morning America, the founder of The Brow Gal, and other successful influencers who speak of their unique experiences in careers ranging from public health to global money exchange. Kim hosts a monthly online workshop, Activate Your Story, encouraging anyone with a story inside to take that first toe dip into writing about their lives, their ups and downs of life, and the path to success. Kim is a nationwide main stage speaker as well as a guest on numerous radio shows and podcasts. She engages audiences with her depth and wit, and she's also the creator of the influential Women with a Story Inside interview series, talking with women who have been the firsts in their fields. She will keynote the Young Eager Writers Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina this year, or next year, 2020. I'm already into 2020. She is the published author of the memoir, Kicking Abuse in the Ass. You can read more about her at astoryinside.com, and you can learn more about her right now on the Limit Free Life Show. So, Kim, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
I feel like I need to take that line out about wit, because what happens if I'm not having a witty day?
Oh, you will. I have full trust in that. So thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Having me.
And I, too, am really excited to hear about your journey. So I know it's an interesting one, and I'm excited for our audience to hear. And so can you go ahead and start with what brought you to being an intuitive book coach?
Absolutely. I was in the movie business for a long time and knew that I didn't want to do that anymore. I kind of floundered for a while in that big transition. And then I went to the conference that I met you at.
That's right.
And basically got up at a microphone and sobbed hysterically in front of 250 women about how I didn't know what I was going to do in my life. And was instructed to be a book coach, literally. And at that time, I really needed direction.
Yeah.
And I think as women, like when other women give us direction when we're really floundering and we take it,
Right.
we can go to that limitless
Right.
place.
Oh.
And I have.
Yes, and in a short time. I mean, as business development goes, I think you just mentioned it was 5 years.
Yeah.
There's not a long time to get something moving in the way that you have. So
Thank you.
we'll talk a little about how you managed to do that.
Sure.
And you know, just a second ago, you mentioned too the value of going to these conferences, meeting people, and just how it could be years later that you end up reconnecting with someone, and it's really
us.
fun.
5
And that's
years.
us. That's right. And I get your emails, and I kind of see what you're doing, but we haven't had that chance to have a conversation like this. So
Right, you
really
never
great.
doubt a relationship that you strike up with someone at a conference or on a phone call. I think there's a lot of people, like, I understand sales and I understand selling, and it's what we need to do, especially if we believe our products and services are going to help and heal and you know, change someone, right? We have to sell.
Right.
But I think people come also in it with that, like, well, you're not somebody I need next. You're not somebody.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. Like, so be kind and courteous to everybody.
I know.
And then if you feel like the group you're networking with is not the level you need to be anymore, kindly rise up to the next level. But I think people go in and then they try to get more from that level, and it might be time to either leave or see what you can do for others.
Right. Well, and this is off topic, tiny, but not really. It's related. I just checked a voicemail in my car, and it was a woman who I had met years ago at an event that we had done together, and I was having trouble even placing her face, and it was a call about needing some service, and it's just kind of remarkable that happens.
Really remarkable.
Yeah. So wonderful. I kind of want to just go back. A second ago, you were talking about your movie career and how you just were feeling like it was time for it to end. And because we have a lot of transitioners listening.
Sure.
What was that feeling, and how clear was it to you, and why?
And I'm not going to go back to like when I was 5, but really growing up, I wanted to be an actress, and got the impression that wasn't going to be supported.
Okay.
It wasn't even just the impression. It was just there wasn't support in terms of like college and everything.
Okay.
So when I went into, college to be an actress, producing seemed like a better gig, which is ridiculous because producing is incredibly hard.
Right.
But I then went into the shadows on the other side of the camera and made that conscious decision, and then became a screenwriter. So now I'm in a room for 8 hours alone in like the dark. Nobody needs to talk to me, and I can just hide.
Right.
And I think when you are not destined for that life, stuff just starts to happen to pull you out of the shadows, whether you like it or not. Now, you could go the easy road and surrender, or you could do what I did and like fight it tooth and nail for 20-something years. And that's what I did. And ended up, discovering that I wanted to be on the other side of the camera a little bit more.
Right.
It's like shocking to me that I'm even on a that I'm even in videos, and people like actually want me to speak on stages, because when I first did movies and I'd have to speak at premieres, I was so terrified.
That is so interesting, and I think people do that. They have something they want, so they get close to it. They do like something that is related, but not it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't satisfy. Okay. So, so getting to the point where you had the light bulb went off, you thought book coach, then what?
Building a business is not for the faint of heart. It's
I don't like getting old.
It's interesting. Well, what happened was when I went to that conference, I was still doing a little bit of a day job. I was substitute teaching.
Okay.
And what was beautiful about substitute teaching was it was bringing me much closer with my children. And my relationships with them were a little bit fractured from divorce, from some struggles I had with addictions. And so I was putting that back together. So being near them at school was really kind of a beautiful thing, the universe put in my path, literally put in my path. Like someone said, why don't you be a substitute teacher? Again, I was like, okay. I mean, I was so desperate for direction. And so while I was substitute teaching, I went to that conference, and I remember someone said to me, I was like, I'm trying to build a business, but I'm also like trying to go to work 8 hours a day. And they're like, no, eventually you need to make the leap. And I did the math.
Okay.
Talking about money, I did the math, and that job was not even going to cut the mustard. So I either had to take the leap and just start, and I got my first client within a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Taking
wow.
the leap.
Excellent.
And I haven't stopped
You
since.
listened when Kendall or Kailash or somebody said, go get a client. So
Exactly.
we have a common mentor.
Exactly.
And we would get caught up in website building and all of this stuff. And they'd be like, why don't you just go get a client?
Some money.
Good advice. So, so what even made you like, did you have any of the kind of worthiness issues like, how do I coach people to write a book? Had you already written a book at that time?
I had not.
Okay.
So here's
there?
my book, Kicking Abuse in the Ass. And I had written the book through the process of recovering through healing from abuse.
Okay.
And was sitting on it. And I'm going to work every day and telling these amazing women that are writing these searing stories about the ups and downs of their lives and trauma and tragedy. And I'm like, you go, girl, you get it out in the world. You splay yourself out. You be vulnerable. And I remember one day a client said to me, what happened to your book? And I was like, she's like, you're not going to publish, you're telling everyone, Yeah. And that put me to the task. I was in the library like the week later, and really it was only needing one more draft.
Oh, wow.
And this is a beautiful story. I went to Barnes and Noble and I was visualizing who was my publisher. And I tell clients to do that. I say, just go pick up your favorite books and see who publishes them and see who the agents are and write it down and just manifest.
Okay.
And did land that publisher.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, the first one I picked.
How did you reach out to them after you saw like which one you okay?
I called them. And ironically, at the same time, a woman in New York who I had been connected to through LinkedIn also gave me the same name within the same week.
Okay, well there
when
you
that
go.
happens, you just go.
You just know. Wow. Okay, so it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, they've done a great job. Smaller publishers in their waterside press have done a lot of great things, but they just don't have any money, so they don't really promote you at all.
Right.
So you're really on your own.
Okay.
So I always tell, my clients, when you get a book, publisher, even if it's not completely self, because this wasn't self, because they paid for the book to get put up and printed. I paid for the cover.
Okay.
You're really not getting a lot more than that. So sometimes when you self-publish, you can get companies that are really willing to do a lot for you, but you are going to pay them $5,000 to $10,000. If not, that's even the lower end. I just didn't pay anything.
That's very nice. Yeah. Okay.
I just figured I'm going to have to market it myself anyway.
Right.
If I give them any money,
And it's a memoir.
It's a memoir, and it has writing prompts throughout all of it that tell you how I wrote my way through recovery. And so and it's broken down, and this was just said to me, now that the book's out, I have people coming to me and telling me what they liked about the book. Oh, and a woman just yesterday said to me, you know what I love about it? She said, it's not linear. You broke it down in 20 chapters by topic. So it's how spirituality was affected by abuse, how relationships with your children was affected by abuse, how sexuality was affected by, can I say sexuality on the show? Yeah. It's kind of a big topic. How that was affected, and then I explain, this is what I wrote about to get through it, and that gives people, so it's sort of a guidebook.
Oh, I love that. That's it's like a journal almost.
It's like journaling through recovery from abuse. Of any kind. It's not even just, the sexual abuse. It's the physical, it's the mental, it's...
Right. And I would imagine it has transferability, too, just to anybody going through some kind of a transition or a challenge or...
Anything.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, one of my clients read it yesterday. She's a state attorney, and there's a lot of stuff in here about some... precarious things I've done.
Right.
Okay. So I was willing to put it out there.
Yeah.
And so I always go, so what do you think about me now? She goes, well, life just has a lot of twists and turns. It was very sweet.
Oh, that is fascinating.
So I think for people that haven't even had abuse, it's just an interesting, they get to see this is what it looks like when you're willing to talk about your stuff.
Right. And how much did writing it contribute to your recovery?
Oh my God, that was huge. I mean, even if you don't publish your book, writing your way through your journey and coming out on the other side has created that limitless, eyes wide open, and it published in 2017. So the last 2 years have been an up level, it's almost like sometimes I have to catch my breath. I'm like, it's all moving a little too, things are growing, and you have to take that step back. And it feels good, but at the same time, you're like, wow, I didn't really know the book was going to do that.
Right. So back to business building.
Back to business building. Exactly.
So, okay. So you got the one client, and then how did you progress from there? What do you do now with clients, and how do you?
Yeah, it's such an amazing journey. Intuitive is in front of the title, and that came later. That came through this great branding coach. Her name is Tiffany Scott, and she's in Austin now. And I did a 6-month mastermind with her. Nice. And I'll never forget, I had been in business, I think, 2 years.
Right.
And she had me do this exercise where I wrote all these words of like what I am, you know? And it was so weird to be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to describe myself.
Right.
All the words I had to describe myself were slightly negative. Like I thought I was, you know, like,
Interesting.
you know, aggressive, you know, like aggressive or
Right.
like just stuff I had learned working in the movie business, just tough.
Right.
And she helped me really uncover the intuitive part.
Oh, I love that.
And then I remember that like moment where I was like, can I put that on my website? I remember calling her crying and being like, everyone's going to laugh at me. They're going to be like, you're not intuitive. And she's like, oh, but you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am intuitive. And that's just that empath. Like I'm very much an empath with people's emotion, just from that growing up in a rough situation, navigating life on my own pretty much from, you know, a young age on.
Right.
You just become intuitive and empathic to people. I think I think you're born with it, and then I think it also gets developed.
Right. Right.
And so when I sit down with someone and they start to tell me their story and like they're like, this is my story and this is what I do, part of me sort of goes, well, we're going to be working, because I can feel where you're not stepping into your power yet.
Oh,
And so she had me put that on. We put that on the website.
Nice.
And I haven't changed it since.
That's really
Yeah. So that's another transformation. I always say to people, be open, like be ready.
Right. Right. So when people work with you, are they usually, do they have their, it's funny because I got off the phone with you, we had our conversation, and the next conversation I had was a woman who was talking about, you know, I have this book idea. Oh, that's perfect, you know.
Here's her number.
Yeah, and I mentioned to her something that you had said, that writing your first book is, you know, this huge hurdle. And so I'd love for you to talk about, for people who, you know, have sort of been sitting on that idea, why is it such a hurdle? What does it mean to get through it and actually write it? What
Well, I have this this great, brilliant, I love to promote the people that help me because they're just they're amazing. Recently I worked with a business coach, and his name is Mike Walker, and he got me on the survey. And the survey is just this beautiful tool that I never knew existed, where you create a Google survey and you literally ask people, so what holds you back from writing a book?
Right.
Because if not, you're just guessing or extrapolating or projecting.
Yeah. No, it is really interesting. I resisted that too. My website guy, who is a mentor of mine, I talk to him every week, he talked about it for years. So we finally did the survey, and it was interesting what people really cared about and what they didn't care about so much. And like you say, you're guessing, you're making a bunch of assumptions, and, you know. And
you're marketing to the wrong pain points. The ones that you think.
Right.
And often they're like that next level pain point.
Right.
They're not the sale pain point. They're the deeper pain points then that's why you're coaching them.
Right.
And we found out that the 3 hurdles for people were time. They just didn't believe they had the time to write a book. They just couldn't even fathom it. It just seemed like this massive thing. Like it couldn't be systemized. Yeah. And that's what I've done, is systemize the process. Even though it's a beautiful, amazing, creative, incredible process, there's a system to it to get it done. And structure. They were like, how do you even...
Right.
Chapters?
I can relate to both of those. I mean, I've thought often about doing this, but... definitely the time and the
time and the structure.
My brain isn't very structured in the first place, so trying to okay.
And for me, that's like second nature, because I've been manipulating and organizing and arranging screenplays and books to screen and books and just writing my whole life. So to me, that's how I think.
Okay.
So I don't expect anyone else to think that way unless they are like me.
Right.
And then the third one is I'm not a writer. And the people that come to me vary in talent with writing. Some have been writing for a really long time and have like a certain ability to write really strong sentences.
Right.
Other people are a little bit, you know, they're a little more conversational. They're not there yet. But I work with everybody on every range just to get that book out. And I explain to them, I said, you're a writer if you have something to say and you want to put it down on the page.
Yeah, I love that.
That's the criteria.
Right.
Like, who says you're an imposter?
Right.
Like this whole thing that... Who's that? Who are those? Who's the collective panel that's telling you can't be a writer? And there usually is someone in their history has told them that they're too loud, they talk too much, they need to be quiet, their opinion's not worthy.
Right. Well, and the world's changed too, because it used to be real writers got their books published, and they went through the whole process of people looking at them and reading them and rejecting them, and there was so it was the lucky few, I think, who got to write. But now it's not. Now it's which is lovely. I mean, it's
the good news is that there's a lot of books. The bad news is there's a lot of books, and there's a lot of bad books.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, okay, so those are the three beliefs people have.
Those
not enough time,
beliefs.
Don't know how to structure, and hey, I'm just not a writer.
And then I asked further, like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what's your why? Like, why do you want to write a book?
Right.
And a lot of people said, I really want to help other people. I want to help other women. I want to, like, share my experiences so they're not lost. And there's a lot of people out in the world that don't want to do that. Yeah. So I say to them, you have been given the calling.
Okay.
As annoyed as you are. Because sometimes they're just, people are annoyed. Like, I have to write a book. And you're like, yeah, and that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
It's going to stay with you.
Yeah. So I guess you would say if you have that thought in your head at all, it probably means you should write a book.
You should
because
write
a lot
a
of people
book.
don't have that thought.
Because there's something inside of you that the stories that are inside of you are going to lead you to that gateway, to that next phase in your life, and you're literally keeping the door shut. You're not opening it.
That's a great
and that's
visual.
What a lost life.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because because I've had the thought I'd like to write a book, I sort of assume everybody has that thought. So, why even get into that game? The entire world is thinking the same thing. But so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, if you sit with someone that doesn't want to write a book, they are so funny about it. They're like, yeah, I don't want to write a book. Okay. And they don't even want to talk about it. Okay. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
They're clear, but they might have something else they want to do that they are passionate about.
Right.
So it's like if everybody wanted to write a book, we'd have way too many books.
Yeah. So people are writing books to help other people. They're writing them just to share their knowledge.
Inspire and educate and inform,
And are you helping people who want to write fiction at all? Or is it
I have not done fiction because that process is so different.
Yeah.
It really, really is. I mean, it's a lot of character development in the very beginning. And even though when they come to me for nonfiction and memoir, the outlining process is something I have them stay in for a while. Like, we really make sure that outline's good.
Yeah.
Because that's the foundation. That can be done fairly quickly in memoir and in nonfiction, because you do, like, my clients do about 3 drafts with me.
Okay.
So through those 3 drafts, we tend to move a lot around, and we figure it out as we go after we have that base outline. But fiction, you kind of you really have to know the plot.
Yeah, no, that's a little beyond me how people put those. I'm always fascinated how stories come together like that.
I think it's beautiful, but,
I
haven't gone there yet.
So the advantage, you have this idea, you have these limiting beliefs, and so getting past that, and what does it do for people when they actually do write their first book?
It's amazing what I've seen. I've seen incredible things happen with my clients. You just see, like, the lights come on, or you see them realize, like, what they've been through. What I love is they realize what they've been through is not for naught.
I love
like,
that.
their bodies have gotten really hurt by being bodybuilders for the wrong reasons, and now they're preaching healthy dieting and weightlifting, or they have had aging parents and they want to help people with those questions, or they've had the ups and downs of business and they've been really rooked and they want to share that so other women don't have that happen. They're able to be on the other side of that and see, it wasn't for nothing. This is really, like, my life, know?
Right.
And you see them start to advance and change.
Yeah. Oh, and then what I don't like is people who say, write your book and it'll be like a giant business card, and it's basically, the whole purpose of it is just to get you speaking opportunities or in the door with, and there's really no meat to it. So there's a difference there between how some people do it and how you're doing it.
I don't have a ton of those clients. I have a few, and I wouldn't say that they use it as a business card. What they do is that they might go out, like my client Rita Connor, she has, the wow years, right? Where she's like in her later years, late 60s, and she's talking about that third act, right? Like, what are you going to do next? She's amazing. So her book has all sorts of exercises in it that she can't possibly say to you,
Right.
even in a one-day workshop.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if someone wants to work with her, they might, hire her to coach after that. But in the process of writing the book with me, I did all the exercises.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God. The things that I realized, and I'm not even in my third act. I'm not even entered my second act yet. And I was like, wow. And I would call her and I would say, Rita, this is like gold.
Wow. Yeah.
So I get that perk. I get to
I'm going to look at hers. I am headed into that third
I know. Sometimes
one.
I think, what else? What do I need to change? Can I find that client?
Yeah.
Because their book will change me.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, I do get shaped by them.
What's your favorite part of what you're doing now?
Oh, that's a good question. I love the outlining process. I love sitting down and really digging in and getting to the root of what they want to talk about.
Are you interviewing them to get to that? Or?
We are, yeah. We are sitting for 5 hours in private.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've done a full questionnaire before that. That's pretty deep as well that I've reviewed.
Okay.
In my group program, which is 2 weeks, 12 weeks, they do a shorter outline.
Okay.
So not a shorter, they'll do the whole outline, but they do a shorter meeting with me. So it's only like 2 hours.
Okay.
Because they're paying less money. And
Right.
It comes down to fiscal, investment. But they still get the same deal because they do an outline program online. So I made it work for people that can't afford or don't want the 6-month process. But I still love hearing like what they've realized and what they've come up with. I love when they connect the dots, or I connect the dots for them, and they go, "Wow, I didn't even see that pattern in my life. That is so much fun." And I try to it's not a therapy session,
Right.
so I try not to get too over analytical, but sometimes it's so hard.
Yeah. So that's the starting point, and then are they just going off and being in a room by themselves writing, and then but are they coming? I mean, how do you coach somebody to write a book? Okay.
So they'll send me the chapter, and then they'll send it to me on Google Doc in the first draft.
Okay.
And then I'll read it, and then I'll give them notes, and then we do a 1-hour coaching call on private.
Wow.
On group, we do a 1 hour in the group.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So what is the time frame that you could expect to get your book done by?
Well, I think either program, it's 8 months.
8 months. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Within a year, you've got a book.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of my clients are done within a year.
Okay. Wow. Very
I know
interesting.
you wait so long, and then boom.
Yeah. And you mentioned something interesting about the first book being so difficult, and then after that, it's a kind of a different game, right?
You would think.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wrote the second book after. I wrote it immediately after.
Oh, wow.
And it's 400 pages, and it's like in my drawer.
Okay.
I should probably never say this but there's a reason for that. I had to get that out. That second book was in me, and I had to get that out. But there's something about the material that wants to be something else.
Interesting.
And so I'm flowing through that with my writing coach.
Interesting.
So I have a writing coach.
Yeah.
So I wrote the book, and then I got to that, and it was really just a vomit. And then I reread it, and I thought, oh, this is not... When you do things without support, it just can be just a little bit of a mess.
Right.
So it's a mess. So this is why I don't tell people to write by themselves. And so the writing coach and I are working through... she's this amazing woman called Rory Green. And she has a group called Write to Be You, and she brings women together to journal and write. And she's just amazing. And I'm doing some work with her right now to understand what that book means and what that content is. It's really exciting to be on the other side. And so if someone came to me and said, I did this first book, I have a second book, and I haven't done anyone's second books yet in my career yet.
Okay.
It'd be exciting to have a return client.
Yeah, I love that.
I think it would be a really interesting process, because you have this like hanging over you that this is sort of what it was.
Right.
Now what is it going to be? You have to almost clean the slate. And that's what I'm trying to do.
That's
and I really needed help.
Right. Very interesting. That brings up a lot of questions, actually. So I want to jump into something, because I probably have that belief that there's not enough time. And I could see where you could help people with the structure, because that's kind of, they can just follow your lead and do what you say. And I can see where you could convince them that they, in fact, don't need to be a writer. but the time piece, how do people manage that? Because even if you tell them what to do and tell them to time block and you need this many hours, they have to actually sit down and do it.
Yes, that's a great question. Excuse me.
Thinking of myself.
I was just texting a client on the way here saying, did you write? Did you do the 20 minutes? We had to break her day down to 20-minute chunks.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And she had to get her staff on board and her family on board.
Wow.
So she had to say, I'm going to go write for 20 minutes. I'm going to go write for 20 minutes. It's Angela's 20-minute time. I'm going to go write for 20 minutes, right? Other clients, I have another client, Alan, who is one of the busiest businessmen. I mean, maybe there's a lot of busy businessmen, I'm sure there are, but he is my first super really busy businessman client. He's always on a plane to somewhere, whether it's Dallas or, and he's just like writing on planes and writing in airports and writing in hotel rooms and he says that bringing me on is the best thing he ever did because if he had tried to do this by himself, he never would have written.
Yeah, you'd never find the time. There's always be something that comes in.
He calls me the taskmaster.
And I think it's a writing thing because, I mean, at least for me, whether it's a book or a newsletter blog or whatever, it's still that thing that I do everything else but.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is really
because that's just resistance or thinking everything else is more important or not seeing. It's hard, like the things that we do in life that like whether it's coming here and doing an interview, there's a there's instant gratification.
Yeah.
Bringing on a client or going to a conference and meeting. There's just, you feel like there's some kind of like monetary gratification. Writing a book, it's not clear what the monetary gratification is.
Although it is there. I mean,
it's huge.
It's
huge. I mean, you change and you become more worthy of yourself and you become more elevated and therefore you attract more people and then you charge more money and it just kind of goes with it. But when you're writing, your brain starts to say, this is ridiculous.
Right.
We've got other things to do that are actually tangible.
Okay.
Who do you think you are?
Yes.
That's the biggest one.
It's definitely a long-term proposition. There's a long-term return, and it's a kind of a long-term process.
Right.
And so you have to get out of that short-term
thinking.
Yeah, but of course, as my dad always said, you always want to be looking at the long term to be successful. So there you go. Just very quickly, a couple of things that having a published book will do for you from a business standpoint.
Well, when you're out on the stage, you can say, if you liked what I do here and what I've said here, and you're not ready to make that leap yet to hiring me as your coach, or you can read my book, and that'll help you get to know me.
Right.
You can put author on anything you have, any title or business card or LinkedIn or anywhere.
Right.
And it's a moniker, to put on your website or, just to that extra educated piece that I had. I have so much expertise and so much knowledge that I filled a whole book.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I love that, and it's true for a lot of people. I mean,
and blogging is a momentary thing. When you write a book, you're like,
that's true.
You're like, I believe this.
Yeah.
So much that I'm going to print it and I'm going to put it out there. But a blog, I'm not putting out bloggers. Bloggers are amazing.
I agree.
But a blog, you can sort of like, well, I didn't like that post.
Right. Yeah, it's a really nice legacy piece,
it's a wonderful legacy piece.
Stamp out there.
Yeah, and people have come to me, that's a good point, and written just to get it down about their families and what they've been through that might never publish.
Yeah, what a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So your Activate program, that's a monthly workshop that you do for people who might be thinking about writing?
Yes.
Okay, and so how does that work?
It's every month, and eventually in 2020 it'll be available for people to just download as an evergreen product. Right now, they do get me live.
Nice.
It's tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
Well, we don't want to put dates on this cast, but it's in October 24th. And then if you go to my website, storyinside.com, there's a pull-down tab that says online webinar, and you can see every month it'll be there.
Nice.
It's so inexpensive. It's $49.
Oh, that's a bargain.
Which is an hour and a half with me in a small group, and we
nice.
go through a series of writing prompts. And at the end of it, then you have an opportunity to talk with me further.
I love that. Okay, so that's in person or webinar?
It's
based?
webinar. It's on
Webinar.
Zoom. Yeah, so
Cool.
anywhere in the
All right.
country, anywhere in the world.
Wow, I'm going to do that one day. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd love it.
Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah.
I'm loving this conversation.
Me
It's
too.
kind of it's reinvigorating my thinking
Creative
about
juices.
Yeah, for sure. So one last message to people if they've been on the fence about this or if they've just thought about it at all. What would you say to them?
I would say, step into where you're limitless, step into the possibilities, and believe that the life that you've led is definitely for a reason. There is a purpose for why you've been on this trajectory and on this path. And if, you hold back now, then just imagine what you can miss out on by not writing your book.
Yeah, I could see people feeling at some point like, wow, it's really sad that nobody's ever getting to hear this story in some ways. So,
true.
Yeah, so everybody has probably a life that's book worthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even if you don't think you do, once you start digging in with them and doing the
Right.
5-hour interview, it'll be revealed to them that they've got enough there to.
And believe that your path to people reading your book is there.
Yeah.
Believe there's enough for everyone.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Well, with that, we're gonna wrap up here, but let people know how they can get a hold of you. We've mentioned it, but give them all the ways.
Okay. So astoryinside.com
Okay.
is really the best way. It's my website. It's where I have my blog. It's where I have, the online webinar to sign up. It's where, you can email me and do a 15-minute free consultation with me
Nice.
about what someone thinks they should do next.
Right. Okay.
That's the best place.
Any other social media places?
Oh,
or-
absolutely. Instagram, A Story Inside. Facebook, I have a Story Inside page. I'm on LinkedIn. You can buy my book, Kicking Abuse in the Ass, on
Nice.
Amazon. And if you do buy it, please do a review because that helps other survivors get access to
very
the
nice.
book.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope you will look up storyinside.com and check out the workshop. That sounds the webinar. That sounds
tomorrow.
really wonderful. Yeah. So, well, as always, thank you for being here. We're here every Wednesday at 1:00. I want to thank ubngo.com and Shai for engineering our show here today. And listen, go out there and create your own limit-free life. Make whatever changes you need to do and write whatever books you need to write and really go for it and make this life as big and beautiful as you can. So have a great week. I think one of the most important messages I have to share with the world about the work that I do is that your work is yours to create. This is your piece of art that you can create in your life, and there's really nothing stopping you. Overall, most of us can learn what we need to learn and figure out what we need to figure out and create that fabulous career or business that we dream about. And there's really no reason to think that you can't. My name is Michelle Perkins, and I am the CEO and founder of a company called Limit Free Life. And I help men and women to make dramatic change in their lives so that they can have the fulfillment, fun, and financial prosperity that they have always wanted to find through their work. The main services I offer through Limit Free Life are one-on-one private coaching, group coaching, trainings and seminars, and business consulting. My signature service is one-on-one coaching over a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, even a year. It really allows a person to decide on an outcome that they desire, and then for us to work together to really achieve that outcome in full. The type of clients that I typically work with are professional men and women who are driven to do more, who might be entrepreneurs, but also career professionals who work in organizations who are really looking to do more with their lives and very open to thinking in new ways about what they're doing, and who are willing to take responsibility, do the work, make some changes, and who don't say I can't a whole lot. Clients up-level in a number of ways. For some, they start a business after being in the corporate world. For others, they have an existing business and they really figure out the key and the formula to making that business grow and take off. For some, it's a matter of really developing courage. And for many, it's a matter of up-leveling their view of themselves, what they're capable of, how powerful they are, what their strengths are, and where they can go in life. What I see also is that there's a spark that kind of gets lit, and that flame keeps growing within them, and there are things that they want that maybe they were reluctant to even express that they wanted, and now they just go for it. They have bigger wants and bigger dreams than they had before, and the sense that they can achieve those things. I feel very strongly that money beliefs are foundational to developing a business that can scale and grow and become the business that you want it to be, whatever level of success that is. And for people who feel stuck or their business isn't going the way they want, a lot of times it comes back to some of these money beliefs. So as a certified money mindset coach, I have the training to help people understand where their hidden money beliefs are either interfering in their lives or businesses or coming into play in some fashion in all the decisions that they're making, both in their business and in their life. The overall mission behind my work is to help people love their work, to find satisfaction, fulfillment, fun, and also to be financially prosperous in what they're doing. That combination to me is a perfect recipe for making work a great part of your life. And so that's my vision, is for people to see work and money as allies in their life and things they can lean on so that they have something that makes them feel important and something that gives them a place to go to develop a sense of identity and purpose and meaning in the world. My greatest hope for my clients is that they will develop a holistic relationship with work, money, and life, and there won't be this separation where they go to work and then they live their life after work, and they will develop work or businesses that they love, they look forward to going to, and that give them the freedom and the income and the happiness that they're looking for in their life. I think one of the most important